Hey there, I'm your host, Tisha Michelle, and welcome to #Certified, where you will leave enlightened, empowered, and inspired to live a life of authenticity. Let's go. Welcome back to #Certified. I'm your host, Tisha Michelle. So quick plug, Spiritual Growth 101 is still open for enrollment. We go live October 1st. So if you want more information or you want to go ahead and enroll, you can visit www.certified.com. Okay, so what a great day to be alive. And you know why? Because you woke up today. Today is another day to learn our lessons, or, maybe to walk in our purpose. Or if you're not sure of your purpose, it's a great day to remember your purpose, to be of service to the collective, or simply to just be, by embracing yourself, loving yourself enough that you take care of yourself, you put yourself first. Now, that's something that today's guest knows all about. She once thought that self-care only meant getting her hair done and getting her nails done. And then after losing her mother, she was shown that it's way bigger than what she once believed. So not only is she caring for herself, she's also showing others the way. So join me in the conversation with Janell Santana of Self-Care. So, again, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with me. I really appreciate it, and I respect everyone's time. So I just wanted to definitely acknowledge that first.
No problem, anytime.
Okay, so let's let our listeners know who you are, where you're from, and what it is that you do, and then your newest venture.
Okay. So my name is Janell Santana. I am the founder of Self-Care. I am a social worker for 15 years, going on my 16th year in November. I am also a certified life coach. I am a preventive worker. So as a preventive worker, I do my counseling in the home with families to empower families and to keep families together. I do work hand in hand with the Department of Social Services, but we do whatever we can to keep the families together so that CPS, Child Protective Services, does not have to come in the family and disrupt the family.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Even working in this system myself as a CASA volunteer, working, with children and stuff. I don't even think that I was aware that there was a separate department, that, to help prevent before like CPS, because so much you see out there is like, when certain things happen, CPS just comes in and people believe to just snatch the kids and, always wants to, tear them apart. But I didn't know that there was an actual like department that was, allocated to be able to, stop that from happening.
Right. So there was a bill called Bill 18 where New York said that we cannot keep disrupting families and moving them in with strangers because that, of course, traumatizes the family. So we're going from one trauma to re-traumatizing, which is not good. So Bill 18, I believe it was Governor Cuomo who said, we got to do this much better. So what the state did was they said, okay, let's do resource meetings, see if the family has family that'll be, of course, willing to take the children. That way the children won't be so traumatized because they're living with grandma or aunt or a cousin or a family friend. So then they said maybe there's little things that could change in the home, like change something in the home dynamic, which could keep the family together. So that's why prevention came in. So we do everything within our means to keep them together. We teach parents how to go look for housing, how to use the homeless shelter instead of sleeping outside. We put them in drug programs. Now with the due diagnosis, which is mental illness and drug addiction, we now have that in the DSM-5. So that's another way that protects families.
I absolutely love it, pulling all like the resources and letting people know that there are resources out there, and there's people who care for, him to even come up with that bill and to recognize and understand that it is going from one trauma to the next trauma. It's like, really, well, are we really thinking about like the children and stuff? I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing that you're a part of that and you've been in that field for so long, because I know that can take a toll on you personally.
Of course. Well, growing up with a father who was addicted to drugs and a mother who worked to 3 to 11, and coming from that, it was like you have to live in your purpose. So part of what I thought was my purpose was actually helping people, which is still it, but now I do it in a different way, which is life coaching.
you know what I like how you said, what you thought your purpose was, which is like similar. And I think a lot of people, struggle with that. And I just like to say, like, we have many purposes. We have
Mhm.
many purposes in life. It just depends on like the season and where it is that we're at. And you overall, it is being of service to other people. And it's just in that season, it was, X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
And now you're stepping into like this season and you're seeing where it really has like evolved to, which is where I definitely want to talk about. So I know you said you're the founder of, for self-care. And tell me a little bit about that. Like, how did that come about?
Okay, self care came about. My mother died October 11th, 2018. About over a year ago now, me and my mother had a conversation. I was like, Ma, it's so many people suffering in their homes on the couches. They don't want to come to an office. They want nothing to do with CPS. They want nothing to do with no one. And they're just sitting home suffering because they have no one to talk to. And the stigmatized, being stigmatized as far as you're going in a building where there's a bunch of therapists. So we know what you're going there for. So people are ashamed of needing therapy but wanting. So
Mm.
that was the struggle. So I thought of self-care after my mom died, on her wedding anniversary, which was March 1st. And I said, you know what? I said, I had two cousins, Ebony and Alana. We were out at Ebony's daughter's play, and you know what I said? I'm going to go live and I'm going to talk about self-care. And from there, it just boomed.
Mm.
And I did the 10-week course to become a certified life coach. And then I started virtually speaking to people through text. I have clients that only want to text. I have clients who like the FaceTime, that personal space where we are
Mm.
seeing each other and talking, through Messenger. And what I'm noticing is my clients are all over the world. So I decided not to close my business. So my self care business is actually 24 hours and I work.
Mm.
So the
Dedication.
yes, the reason why I made it 24 hours because a lot of stuff happens when people lay in their bed and
Mm.
then they start to think. And then I get a text like, Janelle, can I call you? Those are the crucial moments to really help people, which is in the middle of the night or at 10 o'clock at night. Like, my son don't want to go to school. What do I do? How do I encourage? It could be small things. What I'm noticing is the people that we really, really want to help is those that sitting home doing nothing and have a lot of time to think, who don't want to go into a building or sit on a social worker's couch,
Couch.
the old fashioned way, and lay down in here. Oh, what's your problem? Oh, I'm here to help you. So coming from a authentic way is being more personal. They could sit in their pajamas, they could drink be
Hmm.
themselves in the moment. So
Absolutely.
that is where self-care really came. It was because of my mother's death, and knowing that I had all these experiences with growing up with a parent on crack and heroin, and having a mother that worked, and then actually losing my mother 8 days after her birthday party. So all of that came into play with why self-care is so important and how we should really do, take care of ourselves. Then it was, oh, I know self-care is all about getting my nails done. Done.
That's so, I tell people all the time, I said, that is not self-care, that is
No.
self-maintenance, and it's a job.
Yes. It's a job,
It's a
especially
job.
it becomes a job when your appearance matters and every 2 weeks you're going and you're putting your nails and feet money in your monthly budget.
Absolutely.
So it's not self-care. Then I went into mind, body, and soul. So then I was like, okay, what is that? And then I was like, no, that's not mind, body, and soul. And then I'm like, what you put in your mind, which so then I started coming up with topics like the laws of karma, human development, and then relationship goals. And that is self care. It's because you're really taking care of the mind, body, and soul. You're not being a people pleaser. You're not overthinking everything that puts you back. So that's what self care is all about. It's about educating and helping.
I absolutely like love that. I know there's like a lot of people who believe that, well, self-care is easier said than done, and they put it at the bottom of us. Well, I don't have any time for that, but I'm like, but you make time to, get your hair done, do your nails, go out to, eat, go out to drink. And there's no shade to any of that because I do all those things, but I don't do them because it's like, it's this necessity that like, I have to. I'm more self-aware that it's more important for me to take a 20-minute walk than go get my nails done. And that's the things that that a lot of people tend to put at the bottom of the list. And I'm like, look, you can do all those other things, however, let's really get to the nitty gritty of it. Like, why do we make time to go to the nail shop or the hair shop? Well, sometimes, depending on what you're getting done, is all day, but we won't take 20 minutes to go for a walk, or we won't take 20 minutes to turn our cell phone off just so we can breathe, just so we can disconnect from, the chaos, and I want to go back to something that you said about, being like 24 hours. I love that. I absolutely love that. There's so many things, like even if it's like a therapist and stuff, like you have office hours. Well, you know what? The breakdowns don't happen
from 9 to 5.
9 to 5. Because I can tell you when I was cracking after losing, my best friend, it was in the middle of the night. It was waking up from a dream. It was waking up from hearing her, in the room. And it was from, going into the closet to look for something because I think I was going to wrap a gift or something. And it was going and grabbing and then seeing the, obituary and stuff up there and having that breakdown, and nobody's in the house with me, so it wasn't between, okay, now let me call and let me make an appointment, and those things are great to do as like a reoccurring and stuff, but where is that support? So I think that that's wonderful to even think on that level, to say, what, a lot of people don't want to go to well, first of all, the breakdown, is not even happening, all the time at that time. But also people don't want to be labeled as, a mental health, which I tell people all the time, I say, we all got mental health issues. All of us, including myself. Let's be real. We all have that. And, where is that, that support, or, I think it's also too, like, I'm probably like jumping all around, but where people don't want to go into like that office and be labeled there is because a lot of people don't talk about it. The quote unquote everyday person is not talking about the mental issues that they have, when they get to that point where they're just like, I'm just done. I just want to give up. Like, I'm over this stuff, or having anxiety or whatever. Like the case is, a lot of people aren't talking about it. So it makes it be like, oh, I don't want to go see a therapist because, no, I don't want people to think I'm crazy. And I'm like, what? I'm like, going to see a therapist is wonderful. Having someone to talk to, I mean, it's amazing. So I think what you're doing is amazing.
Thank you. I wanted to touch on something else that you said, because something we didn't talk about, and that is, what about being labeled from your family? A lot of families, culturally, so I'm speaking from a cultural sense, they don't want no one crazy in their family, and I mean crazy in quotation marks because no one is crazy, because it's not that they're crazy. It's really, they need to speak to someone. But the family's like, no, we don't talk about that. There's nothing wrong with you. And the old ways is just beat the kids. They'll be better.
Mm.
And those are the things where maybe you could say I have a life coach instead of a therapist. We do kind of the same work.
Absolutely.
Most definitely, it's about talking and getting things out. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I can't prescribe psychotropic meds, but I can look up in your community who can, if that's where you need to be in that type of space. But the cultures are like hurting our families and people within itself, because no one wants the word therapist in the home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's just a word. Then it's also, I one of, like, my spirit is most definitely telling me to reach out to police departments. Lately, so many police officers have been committing suicide in New York.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And my spirit is like, you know what, Janelle, just go in a police station, just say, look, here's my card. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Because them themselves, they can lose their jobs if a therapist or a psychiatrist deem them unsafe in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe just starting from the breakdown, the beginning of the breakdown, they probably won't have to get to that point to where they have to be off their job. And sometimes it's just talking to someone, because we have to also know that police officers have families, they have teenagers, they're going through stuff because they're human. And a lot of us take from that, from being human, because, oh, Janelle, you're the social worker, you should know. Hello, I'm human too. I'm just like you. You get that a lot. Recently, one of my clients looked at me, and I don't think she meant it, but she asked me, where did she get her drugs from in the middle of the night, as if I was with her. But I guess that was her just trying to find clarity when her brain was in crazy making mode. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those are the things that I feel that self-care needs to be more involved in. The fire departments, the police, their jobs is as stressful as ours.
Well, I mean, on top of that, not only are they taking care of like us in the community, but they have their own personal issues, so they have their own personal issues mixed with what they're doing in the community. So, I mean, I would definitely absolutely follow what, your spirit is leading you to.
Exactly.
And going back to what you said about the families and stuff, again, it's the stigma with the word therapist, and we just need, the more we talk about it, we can just take that away. You know how many of like my clients that will say to me, though, I'll be done with like the reading and our session, and then they'll say, oh, thank you for my therapy session. And I just started laughing. And it's so many people that, that say that, and it had me just in my head. I'm like, should I, at one point I was like, should I go to school, and not that I need, and I don't need it, let's just be real. I don't need it. It's just more of like the outside, but I was like, no, I don't need to do that. I said, because in actual, all it is people want to be heard. That's it. They want to be heard. So yes, let's take, two things, take away, the power of the word therapist, so people can go see a therapist and not have to, feel ashamed, or like you said, lose their job because the therapist said, X, Y, and Z. If that's the case, none of us will have a job.
Exactly.
We all on the verge of a breakdown.
Exactly.
Especially as an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
So we have to take that stigma away when it comes to the word therapist. And then also just more people that, I guess it's like the ones where they say like, you always give good advice, or you listen so well, or you open up my perspective. Like all of those people, just start lending that, that ear and that voice, to people, because people want to be heard, and they just want that outlet to be able to talk about how they feel, but also know that they're not alone. And that's why I love now that I'm more open, sharing my experience to let people know that it's okay. I've been there before. Like that is normal to feel like that, and the thing is just expressing, how it is that you feel, and acknowledging, that emotion. So it's not, overpowering you versus just keeping it in and just like, oh, no, oh, just kids will be kids, or, oh no, like they're fine, or like, that person can't handle, they just, I'm like, we're human. We have so much stuff that's going on and we don't have anybody to talk to about it. And then we start to think that there's something wrong with us. And that's like, we gotta, all of us have to do better, with self-care and leading by example.
Exactly. So that's when we all thought like self-care, like I said, was the hair, nails, cooking a good old Sunday dinner for the family. We taking care of the family. It's so much bigger than that. Mm-hmm. And that is why I am doing what I'm doing. Is because I'm put here to educate. I'm put here to be an educator and to help people. But the only way that we can help people is through education. It's just letting them know that it's okay. It's okay. Oh, you thought you was the only one in the world? That happened too? Because, and I'm going to tell you a story. When I first started self-care, do you know how many texts I got? And people said, Janelle, are you talking to me? I didn't want you to put my business out there. And I'm like doing hours of research on this stuff. Hours. And I'm like, your business, honey, you're not the only one. And that came up when I did the with the cheating conversation where, living that extramarital affair. So people that I know that lives with, that dates a man who's married, they all like, were you talking to me? I said, no, I did that before too. It wasn't right. It wasn't right. And I had to come to one with God and pray for forgiveness. But honey, you're not the only one. What I'm trying to teach us is we don't have to stoop that low. You understand what I'm saying? We don't have to downgrade ourselves to be loved. That's once again self-care. Us not loving ourselves.
Oh man, I'm so glad you touched on that. That is, that's the ultimate. Everything it's what we're here for, to evolve, to grow, and to spread love, to love ourselves, love others, and just, choose love over fear. It's love, 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 love. But a lot of people, they don't understand what love is, because how were they taught what love was, going back to childhood and what they experienced and what they seen, and they don't really know. So then you get to be, older and like our age and stuff, and you're searching for love and thinking that this is love. So like you said, you drop your standards or your values, or you don't even have any values. Some people don't even have values. Exactly. They don't know what they really stand for because they're still like searching or, being misguided or whatever the case is. But it is, it's the self-care. It's protecting your energy. Maybe you don't answer that phone call, not being at everybody's, everybody doesn't have easy access to you. It's just to look at that phone and say, you know what, I'm not in the right mental state to have this conversation with this person, so I'm not going to answer. And that's okay. That's, that's self-care. Yeah. It's detoxing your life, whether it's your environment. And I know you touched on relationships before. Social media is just detoxing from that. How about getting some rest, getting some sleep, spending time alone, like in nature, like those, like to me, like that's the ultimate like self-care. And like you said, like being yourself, when you were talking about your clients, sitting at home and having their coffee or in their pajamas and just being their authentic self in that present moment, so having like that is self-care, and, to the people who do want to go and see a therapist and all, that is great. That's self-care. Self-care is picking up the phone and scheduling and making that appointment.
That's right.
Do it. Do it. Go have that person that you can talk to, and just go deeper than just getting prescribed some medicine. Right. Really by expressing those emotions and those feelings and just knowing that you're not alone. Like we are. I be saying that to people, and they be like, "Speak for yourself." Like when I be like my friends, I'd be like, "Look, we all got mental issues." They be like, "Speak for yourself." I said, No. I'm speaking for all of us.
Or you just have to tell them to read the DSM-5. I had to read the DSM-5 when I was going for my master's. Just tell them to read it. Everybody has mental illness. The entire world, even animals, Do you notice I have a dog? Sometimes the dog get out of control. Everyone have mental illness. Is how we take care of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Living with it. And
And
only the people that I say have to get on medication is because in the beginning of the mental breakdown, it was never addressed. So this is years of living with a mental illness. So if we start with having that outlet in the beginning, things will get better. I am so big on having a therapist. When I went through a divorce, the first phone call I made was to a therapist to talk to my son about it. So that is my to-go, a therapist. But also now that I've looked up life coaching and how beautiful that is, now we have people that he could call when he just needs to vent for that moment. Because it still affects him, even though he's 15 years old, because of course I live in a community where there's a mommy and daddy. He does not have that. He has a dad who is amazing with him, but he does not have that in-home experience of a mom and daddy. So those are the things that all of this good stuff, self-care, comes into play. I'm telling you, it's a full circle. It is. It really is. And it's bigger than, like I always say, it's bigger than hair and nails. It's way bigger. I'm talking about everyone in the family needs to do it.
Absolutely. And it's so important, when you really start to see, the changes in yourself by, practicing self-care, and how we can lead by example, and, people will start to see the shift in us, or people will start to say, I had somebody who sent me a message on Facebook, and she said, how do you just remain, positive all the time? I said, wait, what? All the time? I'm sorry. Are you in my life on a day-to-day basis? Or do you see when I post like messages and stuff? I said, half of the time, the things that I post on there, it's me. I'm talking to myself, but and it's also how I heal. I heal by helping others heal. I was honest with her. I said, I'm not just happy-go-lucky all the time. I said, I'm human. I have my breakdowns. I have my moments, and then I just gave her some tips, and the tips that I gave her were all, about protecting your energy, taking time to yourself, disconnecting, getting out into nature, all those things. And I said, that's what I do. I said, when I'm super frustrated or I'm feeling like, what the heck? I don't know if I'm about to go left or I'm about to go right. I go outside.
Yeah. And breathe.
I said, I go outside and yeah, exactly. And I just breathe. And like, people will be like, so I say, yeah, it is that simple. And it's free.
Yeah.
And I go and like, I do that. But for some reason, when people, see certain people on like social media, they believe that, their life is just like so awful because they're seeing other things from people. And I like to tell people all the time, I'm like, social media is great. I mean, but, most of the time it's a highlight reel, it's a highlight reel, so, and that's what that person like perceived. Like for me was that, oh, like she's just positive, all of a sudden. I'm not walking around being negative. I have things that happen. I have things that frustrate me. I mean, most recently I was sitting in the car and I had a breakdown. I was like, I'm done. I'm freaking done. And I wasn't saying freaking, I'm just saying that for the podcast. I was dropping the F-bomb and I was like, I give up. I'm done. I just give up. I don't even care. I give up. And then I sat back and I started laughing. I said, I don't even know what give up means, but it felt good to say it. Like
sometimes you have to vent. It's okay.
Exactly.
It's actually healthy.
It's very healthy.
People don't know venting, crying, laughing is so healthy. Oh my goodness. You just don't know, because I have my crying moments, because of course I'm still mourning. I'm mourning the death of my mom, my brother, my cousins. We had like a loss in my family, as you know, within the last 2 years. It was like every other month. We were like going crazy a little bit every 5 months. It was just turmoil in my family. So we didn't get to grieve over one person until somebody else passed.
Somebody else, yeah. which
So,
was definitely even just an eye opener, even more.
mm,
Just going in and was under, standing, the having that understanding of like what is going on, like how do we process this, So again, if you're not taking care of yourself, it's super hard to even have any type of understanding or processing or understanding that you're grieving. You are still
exactly.
grieving. And I think that that's interesting because me and you can relate to that, is
Yeah.
that through the grief process is where, my, journey of like
Hmm.
self-discovery, and the same thing with you, going down that path of self-care and understanding that is bigger than you,
Hmm.
and that's, the same. And that comes from like that grief. I was doing a session with a young lady yesterday, and we were on the phone, and, I was just telling her that, that I lost, that where I got to where I am now to having this conversation with her was because of, losing my best friend and not having that understanding, and it rocking my world. And then I got to see the big picture and remember what my purpose is. And I was telling her that when you, that I like to say that since I now know that it's bigger than me, and her, dying wasn't for nothing, that I'm here to, help guide other people and help, awaken them without it being from grief. Now, I can't stop them from losing someone in their family, but I can like now help you so you're able, if that happens, you know how to respond, you know how to feel, you know how to go through. Because I was like, look, I'm gonna eat that. I lost my best friend, so now I'm going to, connect with as many people as I can so they don't have to, go through that. And again, I can't stop them from going through that, but I can definitely, help guide them and equip them. So if something, a trauma like that happens, that that you're going to be okay and you're going to be able to, get through it, and it's the same with you, promoting that, that self-care,
Hmm.
so that people just protect yourself, put all that love and energy like into yourself so you're able to move through this thing called life,
Hmm.
which can be very tough at times.
Yeah.
And it's also beautiful,
Hmm.
you know, and the more you put into yourself, the better.
That's true.
And the question like for you, so since you've been on your self-care journey, what would you say has been, I'm gonna say, your best self-care practice, like something that you personally do? Maybe more than one, but like, what do you is like your go-to?
One of the things, okay, when you lose someone, you're angry. You're replaying what happened this time, what happened that time. Um, what One of the things that I most definitely practice, my mind wanders because I'm human, and sometimes there's negative thoughts there. I pray on those negative thoughts. This is not the way to think, Janelle. So with self-care, what I've learned is just working on my mind. So a lot of
Mm.
my self-care is mind, it's my brain. It's like, don't think that, think this, forgive, move on. So a lot of the one thing I've learned is the mind, and that's putting those positive thoughts. And believe you me, it's days now. I've been doing self care almost a year in March, but it's days now. Not one negative thought goes through my mind. Not one negative thought. And that's hard to say because I had to retrain the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go there. So when I'm about to go there, you'll hear me yelling out in my car when I'm driving, don't go there. Don't go there. We're not going there. So it's a lot of self talking for me not to go in those places I don't need to be in. Because there's a lot of places in our head that we don't need to revisit because we spoke about them, we healing, but the more we keep revisiting, we're just making up another story. For those that don't know, you're making up a different story because the same story is not going to play in your brain the same exact way to the T. So that's one thing I've learned is
Oh yeah, we add details to it.
yeah.
Not be like, and then we make ourselves feel even worse than we did the last time we had it. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh man, I'm doing this to myself.
Exactly.
Ouch.
We are our worst enemy. I could tell you that.
I never really even understood that, when people would like say that, I'm like, whatever, and then when you really start to, discover yourself and the things that you do and you say and just everything like around you, like, wow,
Yeah.
Oh, I can't blame somebody for that. That was me.
Yeah.
Yikes. I'd be like, yikes.
Yikes.
Oh man, damn.
Did I do that?
and it is, and it's like, oh, I'm like, so that didn't actually even happen. I'm assuming that that's gonna happen. Like that's crazy. So I gave myself this anxiety and these chest pains and everything because of something that I thought that I think that might happen. And it's like, wait a minute, okay. I have to let go and, of the past and not be trying to, predict the future in that aspect of it, where it's like, oh, well, what if that happened? And all of a sudden you start having like these, anxiety attacks and stuff. And it's like, wow, I did that. That didn't even happen, So I completely agree with you. It's absolutely, it's the mind. It's protecting that, like our thoughts, and you said something about retraining, and like there's only two ways to retrain the brain, and that's through repetition and hypnosis. And you're doing the repetition, the saying over and over and over, and just drilling like to get that out there, because that our mind starts wandering, it'll take us to some dangerous places.
Yes, I know, and I've been going to those dangerous places for about 41 years because I just started self-care. I just stopped self-destructing. You could be on this earth for many years and not realize how you're your own worst enemy, how you break yourself down. How and then people like, I don't break myself down. We all do. We judge ourselves. Oh my goodness. We're the worst with it. But the transition is beautiful, I must say.
It's liberating, right? Oh, you feel so freeing.
My hair ain't graying out as much as it used to. It's less stressful. It really is. And like I said, I've been self-destructing for many, many years. But I feel like I'm rebirthed, to be honest with you. I feel like I was just born. I got my restart button. I hit it. And once I hit that restart button, things have just changed. But I'm going to tell you, I lost family, and I lost a few friends.
Of course.
So, and guess what? I'm okay with that because you wasn't meant to be in my life anyway. Yes, you're family, and I love you, and everybody know I come from a huge family. We have events we can't even invite friends because it's 5,000 of us.
Absolutely.
But those family members that I need to be around is the ones I'm around. I'm sorry. And those that are right now toxic for me, I can't be around that. So the transition is also moving and shifting.
Absolutely.
And once they get on board, because we're such a tight-knit family, it's all going to fall into place because they're not my enemies. When I say lost family members, I don't mean like we don't speak. They're just not on the same wavelength as self-care is.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I completely understand that. And the thing is that it's coming from a place of, non-judgment, because the thing is, it's like, for me, I'm 39 and I'm just this almost 2 years now, and so it took my whole life to get, to wake up and to get on this course. So I'm not going to come from a place of, judging the next person because they're not where I'm at. Like, I just got here. So, it's not your time. But the cool thing about it is that the more that you continue to, like, whether they like see your Facebook, see your YouTube, or hearing this stuff, the seeds are being planted. So then when they have that aha moment, it's all going to make sense and they're going to understand it. And I say that with people too, whether it's family and just like friends and stuff. When that time is coming and it's time for them to come back around, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm probably going to be the first person they're going to think about when something happens and they're just like, wow, wait a minute, what's going on? And they're going to probably shoot me a message, or hop on a podcast or, scroll through something just to see, or whatever the case is. And I think that that's beautiful too. But like, we have to continue to push and like, and move forward and just, send good vibes and pray that, that they can one day feel like how we feel.
Of course.
Because it's very freeing. Just like you said, it is a rebirth. It absolutely is a rebirth. And you just be looking around and you be like, dang, who am I? Like, I'm brand new. And this feels good, because it's coming from such a pure place of just like, enjoying everything and seeing the beauty in everything around.
Yeah.
You know, just literally seeing the beauty in everything, because it is, even in the midst of your storm, it's beautiful because you get to make a change. Like, you get to say, you know what, I don't like to be in this position right now. I don't like to feel like this, anymore. So I'm going to turn my phone off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and like, that's the beauty, with her, like how you were saying, like being, angry, and some people are like, well, I don't want to be. I'm like, but that's cool, because with anger comes change.
Mm-hmm.
With anger comes change. So when you're angry, you can then, don't stay in that place, but step back and be like, what am I so angry about?
Yeah. You start to question yourself.
Yeah. Question that stuff. Yes.
Yeah. Which is good. It's self-care. That's why I said self-care. It's bigger than what we thought it was.
Yeah, because I thought it was getting my nails and my hair done. I was like, oh, I'm good over there.
I took the kids to the movies. That's self-care.
Well, I don't even want to be here and see this movie. This is the second time seeing it, and I got to sit through it again. And like, whatever the case, yeah, it absolutely it is. So, again, those things, getting your hair done and your nails and going shopping and stuff is all cool, but it's way bigger than that when it comes to self-care. So, I definitely just like to tell people, yeah, that's cool, do all those things, but just make sure that you take some time for yourself. And when I say take time for yourself, like, you know what, go get a massage.
Yeah.
Go to the spa. If that's the case, or again, go outside, go have a picnic by yourself, but it's really about like doing like these things, by yourself and for yourself.
Yeah.
And then you can really start to see like the shift in things.
Yeah.
Even sometimes, it's huge. And even sometimes for me, part of my self-care is when I'm feeling like a little wonky and just like out of place or something, girl, I will put on a Kevin Hart stand-up and be by myself dying laughing. Mm-hmm. And it's a quick way to raise your vibration. And then you shift. And sometimes I forget why. I forget about how I was even like feeling or whatever that was, but I shifted by just taking that time to just laugh. And just be, and to not just be cracking, he's funny. So I just be weak like the whole time, and I'm raising my vibration. I feel good, and that was like that time for like myself. Yeah.
That's what it's all about. It's all about taking care of you. I go back and forth with, is self-care selfish? Sometimes I do say it on my YouTube, and then I change up. And the reason why, because when you're really looking into it, the outsiders think you're being selfish.
Absolutely.
So, yep, I'm going to be selfish. Then it's not selfish because it's taking care of yourself. So for me, it does have a double meaning, because other people are feeling, and who cares what they're feeling, but they're feeling like, oh, you're not doing that. You used to do that. Oh, you're not about that life no more. No. That's crazy making behavior. I'm not with that anymore. I'm shifting this way. So it kind of, you understand, it kind of goes both ways.
Oh, I say it all the time. I say self-care is not selfish. I am the most important person. And I remember telling somebody that in a session. I said, you are the most important person. I said, even before your kids. And she was like, what? Oh. I said, yes. I said, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot be the best version of yourself for your child if you're not taking care of yourself first.
Exactly.
Same thing when they tell you when you get on the plane. Who they tell you to put it on first? Yourself. Before your child. You got to be right so you can take care of that kid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we are the most important person. And then when people think that that's selfish, I just let them think that that's selfish. Yeah. Like, I have to care because I've gone so many years not caring, for myself, not caring for my body. It's our vessel. It's our shell. Like, we're not caring for ourselves. We're adding all this stress to it. Maybe we're not, exercising, or maybe even like eating properly. All that goes hand in hand, because we need this, to be able to help other people, whether it's family, whether it's children, whether it's our clients and all that. So people I agree, they can think it's selfish, all they want, but it's not. It's not.
That's why I say, it does have two meanings. Selfish, not selfish. I feel it ain't selfish because I'm going to take care of me. You feel it's selfish because I'm not helping you. I'm not pleasing
Absolutely.
you. I never was a yes man because, of course, I was raised by some strong women. But I don't have to say yes. I can say what I want. It's my mouth. If you don't like it, remove yourself.
Exactly.
Because I'm going to say what it is. I'm not a people pleaser. I'm not going to do things because everybody else is over there doing it. I don't feel like going to this birthday party, or I don't feel like going out and hanging out. I'm staying home. Take it how you want it. I just told you what I'm not doing. And then just saying no, and ending it with no. I'm not explaining myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going through all that anymore because guess what all that does? It builds up anxiety in
Yep.
me. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm stressed. My blood
Resentment.
pressure going up, and you fine because you where you want to be. No, we're not doing that no more.
I was
So,
like that before.
yep, that's
I would say like no, like I can't because da 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 da. And I would just make up this whole thing, and so it'd be true. Like yo, now when I think about it, I'm like I was bugging.
yes.
Like, why was I doing that? Like I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
Exactly. I'm not going.
If that ended up being the last day of my life on this earth, did I really want to spend it there? No. I don't want to go. And it's no shade or it's no thing like no, like I don't want to go, or I don't want to do like whatever it is and not have to give people like a whole, story and stuff. But it's like we're making that up too, that we have to give them this. We don't have to give them. If you ask a question, typically it's a yes or no.
Exactly.
And the fact that you asked me, you then are basically from you allowing me to answer the way that I choose.
Exactly.
So don't, have this expectation of what something is, but that's a huge part of the self-care is the people pleasing.
Yeah.
I remember last year when I spoke at someone's meetup group, and one of the things that the lady said was that she was a people pleaser because she wanted people, she was afraid that people wouldn't like her. And she was older than me, and it's so many people that are like that will say yes to everything because they want people to like them, but that goes all the way back to a deeper rooted issue of childhood, where it's like now you said something good, you said it's like it's like the reset, and I tell people all the time you can push that reset whenever you want.
Yeah.
Whenever you want, and I'd be like, push it. Just push it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, taking care of you. I'm
Absolutely.
sorry, and that's what I'm all about.
Good for you. I love it. I think what you're doing is amazing. So of course me and you had that that one session like before, and then when I got seeing you like doing it, I was like yes let's go.
And
go.
That's for you about it on one of your sessions. One
Yep.
session I was like, I need to do this. And you like, go ahead. And I procrastinated for a year.
Yeah.
It was like one session with you, and I was in the process of moving, and things was just happening. And then that move transitioned to self-care. It was like my world was shifting for a reason. It was preparing me.
Absolutely.
It was truly preparing me because I was originally going into an apartment so I could save more money. And do you know God said no? So now I'm in a house, but do you know why he said no? Because now I had to bring my father up because of the death of my mother, and my father needed space, so a 2-bedroom wouldn't have worked. So it's just watching a shift and sitting back like, this happened because of this. Oh, this is great.
Is that right? So I said, life is great. Life is great. Even like in the midst of the storm, in the midst of the confusion and stuff, life is great. It's amazing. And it all starts in our mind, and protecting that, like that self-care, like you said, is starting in the mind, and just knowing that we control things. When I say we control things, we control our mind, we control our thoughts, and whatever like that is. And I love that you said you sit back and you look and you're like, oh, wow. When you start to see how it all connects, it didn't make any sense in the middle of it. You're like, oh, oh my gosh, in the middle of it doesn't make any sense. But to be able to step back now and see that all those things, even from us having that conversation and you saying like, oh, you procrastinate, but there were just things, there were some more moving pieces that had to fall into place, but the seeds was already planted, and you knew what you wanted to do. It just had some other things had to go. So then when I seen that you were doing that going live, I was like, okay, all right, let's get it. Like, I love it. I love how you are bold and like courageous and you just jump on the live and you just sit, and like talk and just like do that. That's hard for some people. Shoot, it was hard for me. I still don't be doing like all those lives. Like my business coach, and when this was before even Gloria had passed away, was like, we got to get you to start doing lives. I was like, oh nah, I'm good. I'm good. And I've done some now that, and I'm like, I'm bugging in my mind. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm live every day when I'm talking to someone.
Yeah.
I'm live. Like, what is that? So when I see people just throw themselves, out there and do it, I just like, I love it. I'm like, that's just so, I'll be like, that's so badass. Like just to get on there and just like, who cares? How many people are on there and what people saying and stuff. I think that's great. And, just continue to like, lead by, example and promoting and all. And as you continue to get those inspirations that pop in your head, like, oh, I should go and talk to like the police officer and stuff. Follow it. Follow it. Just do it. That is your little spirit guide sprinkling some, inspiration, your mom, just putting all that into it because again, like you said, it's way bigger. It's way bigger. So I definitely want to thank you again for being here, but can you let everybody know, like, how can we support you? Like, where can we follow you at and all that good stuff? And I'll definitely put it in the show notes too, but let them know how they can find.
So you could Google JS Self-Care. All of my pages come up. I have a YouTube channel, Janell Santana, JANELL SANTANA. I'm on Facebook as Janell Santana's 'S. I'm on Instagram, JS Self-Care. I also have my business page on Facebook. I'm also on Wix for emails, but I'm really easily accessible. You can catch me anywhere you need to. Also, if you know someone who is struggling 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I just ask that. Don't let them struggle alone. Please reach out to someone. It doesn't matter the time. My business is 24 hours. Don't worry, I will get my rest. But I know that this is bigger than me. So my energy comes from the man above.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That's how you can reach me. And I want to thank you for taking your time out to interview me.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Definitely have a good one on purpose.
Yes, I will.
Thanks for tuning in to #certified. If anything resonated with you, I would love to continue the conversation. You can follow me on Instagram at @itistisha. And if you want to be a part of the #certified tribe, you can join my Facebook group by going to the search tab and putting in #certified. My website is conversationswithtisha.com. As always, have a great one on purpose. Love you. Thanks for tuning in.